So when you were a high school student, did you know that you will want to pursue development and engineering? Or were you considering other things?
Yeah, I think like by middle school or early high school, I'd figured out like, okay, really like computers. I think I'm good at them. Like, this is probably an okay path forward. Um, I didn't know a whole lot about the industry or how it worked or like what kind of jobs existed aside from knowing that there's like software engineers and developers in the kind of very basic sense. The job I do now, I didn't really know about existed, and it's kind of a smaller niche job in terms of how many people are employed in this function. Um, but yeah, it's all similar enough that it works. But yeah, I didn't really know like I knew, okay, I'll try to go to college, like that'd be a good goal. And that's where you can get a computer science degree. Like that, the very naive, like, yep, you get a computer science degree and then you get a software job. Like that's the logical steps. So I figured that much. But I didn't anticipate really leaving college or uh trying to just jump straight into working.
Yeah, so you have to tell us like what happened with your college. You
Yeah.
already hinted at that. What happened?
Yeah, so the whole story there, I went to the University of British Columbia. I'm half Canadian, so my Canadian citizenship helped in terms of figuring out which school would be most cost effective. So went to the University of British Columbia, was directly admitted to computer science, and so I could immediately start taking a bunch of computer science classes. Um, my workload was really heavy. Like I'm sure every college student has to deal with a lot of work. But mine, like compared to my friends, I felt like I was like, what did I do wrong? Because I had like six classes a semester, and each one was a science or math, and no poetry, no history, no. Not saying those are easier, but they're, I don't know, a little different. Um, and so each day I had like physics and math and chemistry and multiple computer science classes, and that was just like so much work back to back that really stressed me out. But during my first year, I started working for the university. For the business school, they had this master's program, and I worked in their department, like helping the master's students do things with computers. So some of them was writing software, some of them was dealing with databases, so they could perform, their research against these databases. Um, just kind of all around, like I did IT stuff. I helped set up meeting rooms for meetings and stuff. Kind of all around computer things. Um, did that for like 6 months, and like that got kind of tiring of being like the only IT person, kind of all around computer person. Um, and I saw this like job posting for a local startup called Hootsuite, which for those that don't know is a pretty decently large social media company now, and they allow companies to um, basically plug in all their social media accounts into one spot. And so if you're big brand name and you want to say, you just want to put out some marketing like text or some social media post, you can do it on all the platforms at once, track analytics for how people are engaging, all that. Um, and I saw that they had a job posting for what they called a junior operations engineer, for like 3 to 6 month contract, like kind of flexible. Um, and I was like, cool, I'll apply. And I did some reading on some of the stuff. It was somewhat familiar. Like the posting had requirements around what technologies they used. Some of them were new to me. Some of them I'd used before, and so I tried studying a bunch. Um, and I did the interview, and that was kind of surprising because before that I'd only done interviews that were like you show up and you talk to one or two people for an hour, and then that's the interview. But this was like I did like 3 or 4 interviews with different people in one day, and then I had a take-home sort of test of sorts. Like I was given this mini project, so they sent me this file to download and unzip, and it had these instructions of like what I need to build. Um, and I was so motivated though that I got that, and I worked for that on that project for like 10 hours straight the day I got it, and I sent it back to them at midnight. And the hiring manager was like, "No one's ever sent it that quick." And I was like,
He's
"Well,
so motivated.
motivated, but like I just wanted to get it done and get it out of my brain and get it out of the way." Um, and surprisingly, to me at least, got the job. And this would have been the summer of 2014. Um, and yeah, like April-ish, May 2014.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I started working on the team. they basically were the team I was on was responsible for like running all of the infrastructure and managing software deployments and kind of the day to day. How do you operate a big service like that? The service does, I think at the time was doing millions of requests per second from all their different clients around the world. A request doesn't translate to like a single user. Like when you click something on a website, like maybe 10 or 100 requests occur, but a high volume of traffic. And so that was really interesting to me to like immediately go to working on like a real thing that has, many customers and users, and learn how do you actually like build a system like this, a big piece of software that actually functions reliably. Yeah, so I worked there for about 3 months, and uh, around the end of summer, I was like, all right, do I want to go back to school? This is kind of nice. Like I felt like I was learning way more than I was in college, and not because teachers did a bad job or anything, but like I was learning something that was really interesting to me, and it was all clicking, and I was doing well at it. My manager offered me a job to stay on full time and promote me to like intermediate engineer, like the next level up, um, with more pay and recognition for my work. Um, and I looked at my university's policies, and it said I could take up to like a year off without losing credits, I believe. Um, and so I was like, why not? I called my mom and I was like, hey, and like
that conversation.
yeah, and honestly, she was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Like zero reservations. It was kind of like, yeah, maybe kind of thought that would happen. Um, but it was never, I never felt like I was being like, I'm dropping out, I'm quitting, like, see you guys. It was like, I'm gonna keep doing this, and if it keeps going well, like I'm getting paid well, learning a bunch. This isn't working for like some tiny startup. Like when I joined Hootsuite, there were hundreds of people, so it wasn't like it was gonna go under tomorrow, maybe.